Hello, everybody. Welcome back on Frontiers in Artificial Intelligence. Paolo is your host tonight. And with us tonight, we have Hakan Gultekin from Chooch. So Chooch is a very interesting computer vision company. And Hakan is going to tell us a little bit about himself, the company, their technology, their secret source, and we will try to steal as many secrets as possible from him tonight. So hello, Hakan. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you, Paolo?
I am very good, as always, and it's a pleasure having you here. I like one movie, you know the movie Back to the Future. Let's suppose for a second that you have the car and you can go back 20 years ago and you meet primary school friends. So what would you tell them about your career so far? How would you explain them? What you have been doing, what you've done, what you're interested in?
Well, I would say that, I started off with coding and then I'm really deep into artificial intelligence. I'm teaching computers how to think and we're trying to change the world.
Oh, that's very good. So we like that passion over here. So with that said, now we know a little bit about yourself, not that much, but a little bit is enough. And we would like to learn a little bit more about Chooch. First of all, where does the name come from?
The name is very interesting. It's between choose and search. So it's a combination.
Very good. So what does Chooch do?
Cooch is an artificial intelligence company primarily focused on computer vision. We are doing image recognition, object detection, text recognition, facial recognition in a very unified way compared to the market. We don't have a separate API. We have a single API which combines all these technologies together and gives a combined output and gives more detailed predictions compared to what's in the market.
So just to give an idea to people that look at this, who are your typical customers? So let's say, whatever you can disclose, of course, we don't look for anything proprietary, but let us have an example of who is the customer and why the customer comes to you.
Well, we have a range of customers from fashion photographers, supermarkets, to bicycle companies. Well, first, they come to us to better understand what their content is, and what they used to do manually, they're now able to do automatically with artificial intelligence. So
just for a second, what it is that they used to do manually? Can you explain?
Yeah, well, yes, okay. So we have a photography company which does photo shoots from all around the world, from fashion shows to protests, parties, everything that's popular in the world. They're using our system to tag images, like understand who that person is, what that person is wearing in detail, what type of shoe, what type of clothes, what the environment is, what the text is at the background, all of this. They're using our technology to better understand the image, be able to classify and monetize the image. So what they're doing actually right now is that they're sending thousands of images each day to our system through an FTP drop. And our system is picking up, our system is picking up these images, and it's doing predictions, a very detailed prediction, from facial recognition to object detection, dense classification, image classification, text recognition detection, all combined together, and it's writing the meta tags back into the images, sending them back to their service.
So what do they do with these meta tags? Just for a second for our audience, because some of them are technical, some are not. So basically for the audience, meta tags means that Chooch takes a picture, actually takes thousands of pictures, but it takes the pictures and it sends back a list of qualities of this picture. Okay,
Yeah.
So for example, chair, green, blue, it's this written style, and so on.
It's this person has this type of hairstyle, she's wearing this type of clothes with this color, with these shoes, that's the brand, everything.
Yeah, so basically, Chooch sends this wealth of information back to the customer. And how does the customer uses this wealth of information? What do they do?
Well, they use it to be able to search on the images and sell their images, because people are looking for images. They publish the images, they sell the images, they search them through tags, and they search them through meta tags, and they want to get the precise images to be able before they buy them. So it's helping the customers find the images quickly and access the right image they want.
So in a way, not only your technology is increasing productivity, that's what typically happens for all this automation technology, but also it's increasing the ability to respond to the specific needs of your customers, not only impacting on what we call the bottom line, but also the top line. The top line means, like the revenue, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So they're increasing their revenue through our AI. And what they used to do, they were already doing this process, but the process was taking like around 10 to 15 minutes for each image. And it wasn't so much as detailed, because here we have an AI that's like a professional, that's understanding exactly what type of shoe the woman is wearing, what type of brand, what the color is, what type of hair she has, who this person is. So even they were doing this manually, now it's done all automatically through the AI system, which used to take like 10 minutes just, and not with the same quality, now takes 1 second with a much more higher quality output.
That's a huge benefit. So from 10 minutes processing to 10 seconds. So let's go a little bit more into the details. Now we want to steal some of your secrets. Can you help us understanding what is the technology behind Chooch?
So the technology it's a mixture of AI layers. So we have facial recognition, we have object detection, image classification, text detection, text recognition, and some more triggering processes, which we have a hierarchy in where we have like hundreds of models running at the same time, but we have a hierarchy in understanding content and triggering the proper models. So I would say our technology is a lot of layers of AI working at the same time, unified AI, what we call.
So would you call it strong AI or not yet?
Exactly. Yeah, I would call it strong AI.
Okay.
I would call it strong AI. And this came out of the need of the customers. This is what the customers, this is what the market wants. They want strong AI.
First of all, for our audience, strong AI is what's called something that looks like more a human being, like an artificial intelligence system that really can understand the context, can react to different variations of the environment. So it's kind of a very intelligent machine. This is opposed to other type of AI that are more focused to specific tasks. So if you like, the strong AI is the holy grail of the entire sector. So for a second, let's dwell on this request on the side of the customers to have a strong AI system. How would you explain, give us an example of what it is that the customer asks and in what terms they ask?
Okay. So the customer is, when their strong AI idea is like, I want to understand what the face is, I want to understand who this person is. This is an example. I want to understand what this person is wearing, what color of each item that person has. So we have facial recognition there. Then we have object detection. And then we have image classification. And then we have dense classification, where we're splitting the image into pieces, and then we're predicting exactly what the objects are. And then they want to understand what the text is in the background. They want to understand what the face is. Is that a woman or is that a man? And then they want to understand what the hairstyle is. So we're going it's like when we're doing one prediction, we have like 3 to 4 pages of a bunch of predictions. Then we filter them out. So we have face coming out, objects, image recognition. Then we go back into the objects. We do recognition again into the objects, image classification, object detection, image classification, facial recognition, text recognition, text detection. And then we have this whole output of, it understands so much. That's good enough for the market to use. The market's expectation is that it doesn't want specific tasks. It wants strong AI that's good enough, that understands a lot and gives a very good output and says, okay, this is smarter than me.
Very good.
That's
Let me take it from here and switch it back to the technology. So we said that your technology is basically layers of different algorithms that not only do different things, but you also have algorithms that orchestrate these different things.
yes.
Where do you think the most innovative part is? Is in the orchestration? Is in the individual algorithms? What do you think, like, if you had to come down to one specific point of innovation, where is your technological innovation?
Well, I would say it's orchestration, but the algorithms are very important too because we went through a lot of papers, a lot of code out there, but we had to optimize the performance of the algorithms too. On top of that, I would say that's important. The algorithms are important, but the orchestrating of all of this is very important, and the triggering mechanisms on which models to run in which place. Like we have a special technology, a triggering technology. We're imitating the human mind, and like we're not running a lot of models at the same time. We have a lot of models in the memory, but we're running only the specific models based on content. So that's a huge benefit, how we're able to run hundreds of models at the same time.
I think the techies will appreciate this because some of the problems that are there in the computer vision, artificial intelligence area is that some of these models, they load the memory so much that then it's kind of a difficult to run multiple algorithms at the same time. So let's, for a second, look at another aspect of these advanced technologies. To build advanced technologies, you require a certain type of expertise. Now, I've been in a startup several times, and I know that you're passionate, you probably started it with your brother and so on, but you will need help. What type of expertise those people that help you should have? Like, what is the ideal person that can work in a place like Chooch?
So the person who would work in Chooch first has to be passionate of what they're doing. This shouldn't be a job. This should be your life. It has to be your life because it's a very hard topic. Technology, even in every field, it has to be your life. And the person who would work in this environment should be someone who's not learning technology, coding, or AI. They should love it and they should embrace it since they're like 18 or 19. They should be interested in what they're doing.
It looks like the job requirement that I posted like 2 years ago when I was doing my startup, but it's pretty similar. I don't know how many are around there, how many people like that are around there.
Yeah, because
go away. But anyhow, to give a suggestion to our audience, if you want, like, now you know how to cheat this guy. Just tell him that you love the technology. It's the only thing you live for. That's how you get the job with it.
Yeah. So I went through when my hiring process. I hired somebody a month ago. Not a month ago. That was a couple of months ago. I went through 15 people through the interview process, and then I clicked with one person, and that person had a passion in what they're doing. They loved what they're doing because this is very important. Having skills is something else, but being persistent every day, and being focused is very important. So that's what we're looking for. And of course, someone who is capable of, has some basic knowledge of technology, of, coding. They could be graduate from computer engineering, computer science, or they could be someone who is, has self-taught themselves. That's not that important for somebody who's good at what they're doing is important.
That's very, very interesting. So now we have some advice for the people that want to join Chooch. Probably most of the other very advanced technology startups like this one. See, just to conclude on our, investigation of your technology, where are the problems? Where are the secret problems? Where are the most challenging things? So I'm thinking of, like the data, the tagging, the training, or, like orchestrating the production environment, the quality control. Where is the most painful thing in your deployment of technology?
The most painful part of our technology is accuracies. So getting to a certain accuracy, and then the hardware needed. That's the GPUs, because not every environment is suitable to run training and prediction. So you need a very powerful system, and only AWS and Google Cloud is good enough. What I see, I haven't tried Azure. I don't want to give brand names right out, but that's another part of it. But getting to an accuracy and understanding the cutoffs. Like when you're doing training, to understand, you have to understand how the models look to the life itself. You have to, because you don't know if when you're doing a certain training, you could look at a chair, or you could train a chair, and you will not understand. You have to go back to the model and see how the models look at each image, record what the accuracies are. No one knows the accuracies properly. So it's just, that's very hard to understand if this model looks at a chair, if it sees it at 80%, is it really a chair? What's the cutoff? It changes from data, it changes from the neural network you're using. So you have to be very careful in doing the training. That was the biggest bottleneck we had. So we had to add extra layers on top of them to understand how the models themselves look at the world. It's like understanding how a person who works for you, what their capability is.
That's very interesting. And do you think this is the direction you will go in developing this technology? So, or in other words, where will be the improvement or the changes or the futuristic development that you envision in the next 2 to 5 years? What will happen?
First of all, I think that all these AI layers will be unified. That's the only way we're going to go to total AI, to strong AI. And that's the expectation of what the market is. It doesn't matter what we think. That's what the market wants. So these will be unified, and the accuracy levels will be calculated in a different way. I believe that when we're training models, we have to go back to the model and understand what the experience of the model is, to understand the cutoffs and the thresholds. So this is where I think the advancement will be. It will be unifying the AI layers and understanding the cutoffs and the accuracies of the models.
Do you think that this unification of the various AI layers can also kind of introduce a way to check the precision and accuracy of the various layers themselves?
Yes, of course. For instance, in one of our projects, we're using text recognition, object detection, image classification, understanding the bike models. Because the bikes are so similar, like a Bianchi bike.
It's Bianchi.
It's Bianchi, okay, I'm sorry. So, and then there was another Trek, that's another brand of bike. So when we're looking at the bikes, it's so similar. Sometimes we could understand with object detection by cutting off the parts and understanding, we could understand, but sometimes we can't understand. So we have a workflow system where we're doing object detection, image classification at the same time. And then on top of that, if we have text recognition, we're using the text recognition to understand the brand and validate what we're getting from the object detection. So we're combining them together to a total validation. See, we're actually imitating the human mind. When you're looking at something at a distance like a bike, okay, it looks like something, it looks like the other bike, it's good. Oh, now I see the text. Okay, now I know that's a Bianchi, right?
Bianchi. But that's something very interesting. So when you look at this type of technology and the unification of different layers of computer vision, natural language processing, also text detection and image classification, etc. Do you see other startups, other companies that are going a slightly different direction than yours? And what do you expect other approaches will be in the next 2 to 5 years? What are the other competitors doing, and what it is that it's different enough from your technology, but still interesting? Where do you see the other ones going?
Well, I see in the market right now, as a startup, I see Clarify. They're not doing a bad job. But
how are they different than what you have, and where do you think they will be?
I think they're different in that they're just doing image classification. That's not good enough. They're not doing facial recognition. They're not doing object detection, text recognition, text detection, and their models are scattered around. So it's different. They're not doing a bad job, but they will go somewhere with what they're doing.
Yeah, but where do you think the technology will be 2 or 3 years from now? Maybe the fact that they're focusing, only on image classification, that will enable them to develop deep domain expertise in that area. Maybe that will be, sufficient to capture certain business case. Where do you think the technology is going?
Their technology, Clarify's technology,
Yes.
I think they will be good at what they're doing. They will improve, but they will have to change their direction. They will have to add some more features because this is not what I'm saying. This is what the market is saying. The market is your competitor, your threshold. They want this, they want that, they want, it goes like that. We can't decide what's going to happen in AI. AI is good in, we could go to research lab, you and me, we could sit around, we could code around. It's fun. But in the end of the day, it's a business and it's on supply and demand. I think they will be successful in what they're doing, but image classification itself is not enough. That's what we've discovered through the market. Because the expectations are very different. And if you don't fulfill the expectations, people don't pay for your product. They don't become your customer.
Very interesting. So let's touch upon a slightly different type of technology. If you look at the various areas of machine learning and artificial intelligence, there are other areas. So for example, there are things like robotics applications, there are things like adversarial networks that have been used so much in the gaming industry. There are things like search engine and natural language processing. And I can think of other things altogether, like time series analysis, customer basket analysis, blah blah blah. Lots of things, automating analytics. There are lots of other areas. Which area that you do not work on interests you the most, and why?
Natural language processing interests me more because it's a part of the holy grail. It's going to be, I think in the future, what I want to do, what our company wants to do is combine these with the computer vision technology and create a total AI. So understanding the text, understanding what the person is saying, what audio is, and then responding accordingly to that. And combining that with the image recognition detection with the image computer vision AI is that's like the fantasy I have.
That's very interesting. So what technologies or what companies or research centers have you been following? And is anybody you have been following? If anyone, why?
Well, I've been following Google a lot, TensorFlow. So that's one of my advice is just follow TensorFlows. They have updates. They have new examples in their reps. I follow them. I follow MXNet. I follow AWS, what AWS is doing in the recognition. I follow Microsoft too and Google, AWS, what they're doing.
So when you say you follow them, you follow their websites, you follow some research papers?
Yeah, I follow the research papers and what they're doing in their work. I'm constantly testing their APIs too.
So where do they publish their research papers? Are they on X Archive? Where do you really follow their research papers?
Well, they have a blogs. Google has a blog. So I follow Google's blog. MXNet, they're not so much of a search. They're not a research institute, but I look into GitHub, their reps, and check what their updates are. So it's a good practice to look at the papers and look at GitHub.
Now you got some advice on where to find or where to spy what's going on in natural language processing and also computer vision. So Hakan, we are so thankful to have you here. It was really great learning all these insights about Chooch, and particularly it was interesting to learn about your endless passion towards this type of technology and the market and so on. So we want to thank you, and we wish you all the best with Chooch, and I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future. And we want to thank everybody that was online tonight. And we'll be back with another episode of Frontiers in Artificial Intelligence. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.